Welcome to Dads with Coffee.
Here I am.
Woo! Gotcha. And you actually have coffee today.
I do
That's
have
awesome.
coffee, yes.
Well, you know, it mid-50s this morning.
It's nearly cold outside.
It's almost cold.
It's Texas cold, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, it's Texas cold. It's
and
not,
we're live on YouTube.
It is not cold, but it's Texas cold for sure.
It is Texas cold. And boy, howdy got the sniffles and
right.
What are we doing?
I'm making sure that you're more in the frame than you were. I'm trying to produce this thing.
Very good. So homeboy sends me a text message at 6:30 this morning.
6:24, I believe is what it was.
Hey, let's talk about this.
Well, I was trying to put together the what did you say? It's called an Amarillo. You're not an Amarillo?
Why are you an Amarillo?
She's not an Amarillo. She has a child in Amarillo.
Oh, well, it's cheating. It's cold in Missouri too, right, Laura? 48. It's practically that here. It's Texas 48.
Yeah.
It's like 57.
Yeah.
And windy.
But I was trying to put this thing together for this morning. So I sent you that email, give you a heads up, because a couple of weeks ago, you had to be out last week.
Yeah.
A couple of weeks ago, we said that maybe we would do a top 5.
Wait, wasn't that 2 weeks ago? Was I out last week?
Yes.
No, I was out 2 weeks ago.
2 weeks
SAT.
ago. Well, whatever.
PSAT test.
But we were going to do a top 5 chicken place. And
I don't know if I want to jump right into that. I kind of do, but I also kind of don't.
I don't know. Well, it's just a teaser.
Oh.
Sunday, we talked about leaving a legacy.
Yeah.
And
I've been thinking about that a lot too.
Okay.
Probably more than the chicken.
Well, I would hope so. I mean, given the value of the importance between the two things.
So I relate a lot of what
I had beans the other night. I'm leaving a legacy too. But that's a whole other issue.
We're gonna leave that alone. This is not Abbott and Costello, okay?
Well, it can be.
Sometimes it
feels like it is. Who's on first?
So I think back a lot to the Navy, because that's where I spent nearly half my life. And so when that
ratio is getting lower every year.
It is. It's less than half my life now.
It is.
It is less than half.
Sorry to remind, but
Yeah, I'm coming up on. I just finished my 7th full year. In fact, November of 2022.
So next November,
I will be fully retired from the Navy.
Okay.
No longer subject to active
recall. Yeah. No longer subject to recall.
No matter when you retire, your contract extends out to 30 years.
You could be called back for 10.
All the way back and up until your 30th year.
Right.
But I'm not sure if that's the date that I retired or if that's my pay entry base date of July 6th, 1992. Seems
right.
Like a long time ago, the 90s.
Right.
Here we are in the roaring 20s.
Oh, I know, right?
And so I think back, when I think of legacy, I think of the legacy of the Chief Petty Officer. Right? That was where my first thought went. And how traditions have carried on from 1893 until today. Now, they've changed some. They look different due to technology. They look different due to just the climate of the Navy.
Right.
The things that they were subject to in the 1980s were no longer subjected to in the early 2000s.
Right.
When I went through, which has kind of caused a divide between the old hats,
the old and the new
hats.
You weak ones didn't have to go
really
through.
Initiated. You were indoctrinated, and you were. It's this, that, and the other.
You didn't really go through what we had to go through.
The simple fact is the legacy remains and the tradition carries on.
Okay.
Chief Petty Officer is known as the protector of traditions in the Navy, because we're losing so many of our traditions. And that they're not all good.
So you guys are considered the protector of traditions?
Yeah. We carry on the traditions of the Navy.
That's the role of the Chief Petty Officer?
That's not even close to the role. Actually, the number one role is to train and develop junior officers.
Okay.
Because most oftentimes, a chief will have anywhere from 13 to 18 years experience by the time they're selected.
Okay.
And you get a young butter bar that comes in fresh out of college.
Yep.
Who doesn't know how to tie his shoes right.
Because there's a right and a wrong way to tie your shoes.
There actually is a right and a wrong way to lace your shoes.
Okay.
It's always left over right.
Okay.
Don't ask me why.
No, it's rigor.
Don't ask me why.
Yeah.
Because it's good order and discipline is what it is.
That's, yeah. If you can learn how to do this, then we can teach you something else.
If you can learn how to tie your shoes,
but if you
correctly,
can't do this, then we have to keep you at your level.
There's a proper way to fold your skivvies.
Yeah.
And your t-shirts.
Well, it's military. I mean, there's discipline.
Everything is done a certain way, because that way, when you're not here tomorrow, somebody can do your job, because this is how we do it.
Right. Redundancy.
Right. You train everyone the same way
to
get the same job done. We could use that some days in a lot of different areas.
There you go.
But when you think of legacy, it's what you leave behind. It's not what you're doing. It's what you're leaving for the next generation. What you're leaving for a future,
right?
To hold on to these same customs, traditions, mores, just the ways of life,
right?
That we carry on. And if we look at that from a church standpoint, when we look at these traditions, we're going through Hebrews 11, which is why I'm guessing you brought this up, because last week you talked about that legacy.
Yeah.
And I looked at Hebrews chapter 12.
Okay.
When we're surrounded by such a great cloud of witnesses. Right.
Which are not the angels on the horizon.
They're not the angels on the horizon, or the mighty warriors on the cliff side.
It is not.
However, we're not gonna put it into picture form today. But we are surrounded by that great cloud of witnesses that have been here before us.
Right.
To show the way, if you will. So when I think of legacy, I think about it's not what you do, it's what you leave by what you do.
Sure.
That makes sense.
It does to me.
Kind of. If it doesn't make sense to you, I left a legacy at Lynn High School. Yeah, I didn't know that, so. Yeah, I didn't know that at all. I left the legacy at Lynn High School because I'm Cobb.
Right.
Which came from my last name, which rhymes with corn. And where do you get corn from? Corn cob.
Cobb, yeah.
Corn cob was too hard to keep talking about, so we just went to Cobb. And it stuck.
What happens?
We were playing backyard football, and there it was.
Right.
It's just how I got my nickname Kirby in the Navy.
There you go.
You ever hear that story?
No.
I walked in the shop, said, "Hi, Airman Apprentice Keith Warren." And Jim Wardock says, "Hey, Kirby."
Out of the blue.
No. I said, it was Keith Warren. All right, Kirby. And there from until the day I retired, and still to this day. In fact, Clayton Olson, he'll say Keith, he'll say Keith, he'll say Keith. And when he says Kirby, I immediately turn.
I've done that to you.
Yeah. I don't.
You get two Keiths and then it's Kirby.
Yeah.
And you turn to Kirby.
I don't know if it's because it's
tradition and legacy.
Because it's not a monossyllabic word.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just I heard, I don't know.
Well, for 20 years you heard Kirby.
Yeah.
And you had to turn to answer that. Well, I mean, I think it's important that we consider the legacies that we're leaving, because there's many legacies that we leave. We can leave good legacies and we can leave bad legacies.
Oh, absolutely.
We can leave financial legacies. We can leave all kinds of legacies.
Yeah.
And Mark and I were talking the other day. Mark works here at the office, for those that don't know. Mark and I were talking the other day about the need for us all to evaluate our legacy. I've been working with my mom and dad as they've been building a trust. They've been putting a trust together. Mom and dad are 80 now, and it's time. They're in fair health, but
that's when you need to take care of business.
But that's when you have to take care of business. I really wish they had taken care of business a decade ago, but they didn't, and that's fine. We're taking care of it now, and a lot of it is it's one of those dilemmas. They don't have much, but what they have, I don't want them to have to automatically give all that away should they enter someplace.
Right.
I think, I don't know. There's a lot of issues surrounding that, and I won't get into that today, but there's just dilemmas involved with care and assisted care and the cost of assisted care. I see my insurance bill come in and I see what they want to charge. Then I see what the insurance company
Right.
got them down to, and then what my insurance paid, and then I would still owe some money. But the fact that they are so oblivious to the American plight that they would want to charge that, yeah, it just
Here,
mm-mm,
okay,
mm-mm,
we're gonna might get
mm-mm.
off the rails here in a little bit. If they'll accept what the insurance is gonna pay,
Then that's what they should
why don't
charge,
you just charge that?
because for the people without insurance, this is how they get them.
If you got to pay $163 for an office visit, and the insurance says, well, I will only pay you 40.
Yeah, but they'll accept that.
Why can't I pay 40?
I know.
I'll
I
even
know.
pay 60.
Well,
I got my $20 copay.
I have my theories, but anyway, I don't want to digress too deeply into this.
So you're saying there's some crooked business?
I think that they like to be able to talk about how much they wrote off for the American public. In my opinion, it makes them look good in the press. Hey, we wrote off $14 million worth of bills this year. No, you just allowed us to pay what you were going to accept from insurance anyway. And you got to claim off your taxes what you wrote off so that you can hide what your CEO's making.
But you didn't hear that here.
Not from here.
This is
And so anyway, I think that
so when you think about that legacy that your parents leave,
right. Well, and the reason I brought it up was because Mom and Dad have told me, oh, we don't have anything. We don't have. I said, Mom, you all have 2 cars, you have a house, you have land, and you have whatever you've scrapped together to save in your savings accounts. Now, I am the only child, and so I'm gonna have to manage all that when the time comes. And I'm not, and I talked to him. I said, look, I'm not asking you to put your stuff in a trust because I want it.
Mm-hmm.
I want you to put it into a trust because if you've taken the time to save it for posterity, then you should have the right to be able to state how you want that used and not have it automatically go to an agency that's bilking the American public for more than they should.
Which is the default. If you don't know this, it's the default. If you don't have, if you haven't documented to say where you want it to go, where your assets are going, it's going back to Big Brother.
That's that living trust idea.
Right.
Now, I mean, your will tell after you're dead,
mm-hmm.
then the will comes into effect and whatever you've said goes where it's going to go.
Yeah.
But what about what you've done? What happens while you're living if, God forbid, you can't remain in your home for whatever reason? Mom and Dad swear up and down, we're not going anywhere. We're going to stay in our home to the very end. That's fine. But what happens if? Well, we don't. Well, I said, I want you to pay what you ought to pay to that. But Dad, you served. Mom, you and Dad both have worked over the years. You have Social Security and you have Medicare. And these things you've earned and you've worked for your whole life.
Absolutely.
And that ought to pay for whatever care you need. And they shouldn't have to rob you of every last penny you have.
Yes.
Just because they can. And I think that's a whole health reform thing that I don't want to get into. But
again, they don't let us write the rules.
No,
if they did,
they don't let the logical people write the rules. They let the lawyers write the rules.
Right. And because they're anyway.
So, and so it came out that when it was all said and done, they're like, we have more than we thought we did because their assets have a certain figure that surprised them. Now, we didn't think we had that much. And I said, I figured you did because I know the house and the cars and the land, and I know what prices are these days.
Yeah.
And so, they finished that up. Now, of course, if you don't know, there's 60 months from signature to the time you go in that Medicare can take a 5-year window look back to see, okay, what have you done? But after 5 years, you're fine. But all of that to say that they want to make sure that whether it's me or my 2 kids, that they want to make sure that what they earned and worked for and stashed away for them gets to actually go to them.
Yes.
But furthermore, they have established in their will, and I've established in our will, and I don't know if you all have or not, we took a percentage of our whatever's left of the estate, and it's going to Baptist causes.
Mm-hmm.
Because we've pastored several churches. I don't have a singular church
Right.
that I want to give it to. I'm giving it to my college BCM ministry, 5%, and then 5% of the estate will go to Dulce's BCM ministry to support and further those collegiate ministries on those two campuses. But I think we have, as boomers are aging, and we have a plethora of them in our own church, need to evaluate, how much do you love your church? How much do you care for your church?
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to see this church, your church, continue after your death? And if you do, have you taken in consideration of apportioning some of your remaining estate to go to the church?
And I think that's probably something we don't talk about enough.
Which is why I wanted to talk about it today.
Not necessarily leaving to the church, but when you leave it, where's it going?
Yeah.
And I don't.
I mean, it's natural and
maybe
normal.
just in my world, I don't talk about it.
Well, we don't really either. I mean, we are with aging parents. We're talking a lot about it. And that's not where you are, given your circumstances in life. But they've
aged out.
Yes.
They're an adult 7.
Yeah. And, but we're having to talk about that. And it just reminds me in the positional seat that I have to remind our people, hey, have you considered, because the default is it just all goes to your kids.
Mm.
But there's nothing wrong in saying, hey, I want 10%, a tithe of my assets that I'm going to leave, that I'm not going to enjoy, but I want to leave 10% or whatever you want to give to the church. We've had an individual die that likely didn't do that because we didn't tell him to do that. We haven't told people to do that on a regular basis. And we should, because Texas Baptists have a free opportunity to have that created for them. Now, if the lawyer fees cost over X amount of dollars because you have whatever you have, well, you have to pay the excess. But Texas Baptists are offered up to a certain amount of legal fees
to do that.
That they're gonna have the paperwork provided to them.
I did not know that.
And the QR code from the bulletin this last Sunday had the QR code that went straight to that site where you could start up and set it up for free. If you'll go there and you could look up Texas Baptist Mission Foundation, and you can find the link there too.
I'm going to be honest. I didn't look at the bulletin last week.
That's fine. But if we want to have, I mean, the lucrative nature of the elders and the boomers generations are not what's being experienced, by the millennials and the upcoming Gen Z generations. We don't have the kind of, oh, no, wait a minute. The salary they're making is twice what I made when I was their age. That's true, but the houses are 4 times as much.
Right.
Gas is 10 times as much as it was when you came through. Milk is 4 times as much as it used to be. The economy is stupid. I mean, my mom called me the other day and said, I just got this new prescription. Do you know how much it would be if I didn't have Medicare? And she was getting Jardiance or something for her. She's got A1C problems leading up to a surgery. She said it's $600 a pill if I didn't have insurance.
In America,
$600 a pill. If I cross the border, it's $25.
How much is that pill in Canada
or Mexico?
Yeah,
not that much. This is the problem of our healthcare system in America, top to bottom. It is wrong. I would almost border on immoral and unethical, the amount of money they're charging for these things that I know doesn't cost that much. And if it does, fix it.
Right. Well,
needless to say, millennials and Gen Z don't have the kind of income that was once had in the young families, quote unquote, of the church. So now we need to instruct and encourage before they pass on, that they would leave a portion of their estate to the church in an endowment situation from which we could draw interest and therefore help pay the bills. I mean, you get $1 million endowment fund. Well, let me back up. Something I know for certain, because I don't want to do the math in my head this morning. 15 years ago, An individual left $100,000 endowment to a church that I pastored every January, and she left it for building usage needs. And so every January we got a check for $6,000 every January off of $100,000. Okay, so if you went up to $1 million with a little bit of compounding, you're getting somewhere between $65,000 and $80,000 a year just off of interest, not even touching the corpus. Can you imagine? $60,000 covers a whole lot of issues.
Goes a long way.
And all we're asking is that you would provide a portion of your estate to go into an endowment fund to secure the needs that we're going to have for ministry, lights, staff, curriculum, outreach events like the one we want to do in December, Breakfast with Santa, December 11th.
Put it on the calendar.
These are all the things that we're going to need help providing for, because out of our annual income this particular year, 70% of that income will not be available 12 years from now when they're all dead.
Right.
I'm just saying. But over the course of the next 12 years, if we could have provisions and pledges of those, we can begin to plan on what that endowment's going to provide us through proper investing through Guidestone here in Texas. And this is going to allow us, and you may not go to our church. You need to talk to your own pastor and talk to your own missions foundation in your state. And we all are going to have to work on this if we want to have a gospel Baptist presence in any community we reside in, because the money's not going to be there a decade from now. No. It just isn't.
So the legacy that we leave now,
the legacy you can start leaving now will play out into the future multiple times simply because you thought about us.
Seems pretty easy.
I read a report a few years ago, and it said that so many times all of your colleges get all of these endowments and get all these funds. Why? Because they experienced a great thing there. Well, they don't think about the church also needing those types of endowments.
Right.
I mean, people give a one-time gift. And I have no problem with one-time gifts. I think that's fine. But I do think that if we're going to have to be smarter than that in the church and outside the church and give endowments that can go on living so the corpus lives and grows. We chose that if anything was above a 6% income, that it rolls back into, that adds to the corpus, we're only going to draw 6% off. Okay. And if it falls below 6%, anything over 6% goes to add to the corpus. We'll draw 6% income off that. And if any time in recession years it falls below, we don't draw anything. So we just made that decision to make sure that the corpus could grow,
continue to be there.
Yeah, because
the next generation.
Because there are healthy years. It ebbs and flows economically. Yeah. We had an 07, 08, 09 recession. So we're due another one, and it's likely coming quickly. But we've had growth years. We had growth years where you could have returned 10, 12% off of that corporate. Okay, so out of that $1 million fantasy land, so you could have grown it nearly $120,000. You take 60 because that's what you've agreed to do. But 60 then goes back onto the corpus, and that makes it grow and keep growing. And you grow through the fat years, and you provide through the lean years. But every year you are provided for a portion of that budget that the church needs to have when the money's not going to be there anymore.
Almost sounds biblical.
Well, but I do think it's important that we learn how to leave legacies in every capacity, and money's just one of those. I mean, we leave legacies in our children. We leave legacies in our traditions. We leave legacies, all the time. And I think that we have to start asking the questions, even at younger ages. What kind of legacy are you going to leave? I mean, we talk to our seniors in high school. What kind of legacy do you want to leave for these freshmen or sophomores? What you do today is what they're going to want to do when they're a senior. Right. So what are you showing them is the proper way to be on the field or to be off the field or to be in your group or your choir or whatever it is you're in the classroom? What are you doing? Because somebody's always looking up to you.
you see a lot of these, especially I'm around football a lot. So you see a lot of these football boys, and they'll see one example 2 weeks ago when we worked the gates for Crowley Pee Wee. There's these two young boys, the Anderson boys. They also play basketball. And on the fence outside the stadium, there is pictures of all the seniors. And they went up to number 2, which is our running back, Dante Blake, and they took a picture with it and tagged him on Twitter.
Yeah.
And said, heard you're the guy. We're right behind you.
Right.
Right. So chasing his legacy of greatness and excellence.
Well, a couple of weeks ago, I had Ari Johnson on, a former OSU softball player, and great woman. She's doing a great job raising her family and working for Arctic and all this other stuff. But at the time, Bella was 9, 10, 11, and we would always go to a softball game in the spring. And she saw Ari the first time, and she followed her and wanted, and it's like, there's a responsibility there at whatever level you are. I mean, like you said, you've got this high school that the Pee Wee guys are wanting pictures with,
5th graders,
but the high schoolers are wanting to get their picture with the pro player or the college player possibly. And so every one of these, and I hear this from pro players on the news and stuff. It's like, well, I didn't want to be somebody.
I'm not a role model.
I didn't want to be a role model. Then quit your day job and go do something else. Because by virtue of the money and the fame and the position you have, you're automatically a role model. And if you don't want to be a role model, quit.
Right.
Period.
Because you are a role model.
You are, one way or the other. I mean, Jesus told the disciples, and thereby us, you will be my disciples. You will be my witnesses. He didn't say they'd be good ones.
No, he didn't.
He just said, you will be my witnesses. The question is, what kind of witness am I going to be? Because the legacy they left in Acts is not what I see in the church today.
And with that, my top 5 chicken joints.
Top 5 chicken joints. He wants to go international. Like he was in the Navy or something and got to travel. He wants to go international. I can go international. I have a favorite. I can go
my
international.
favorite chicken joints are not in the United States.
Yeah.
One is in.
All right. Are we going top up, or are you just going to
one
list
is a
5?
U.S. territory.
Are you just going to go like these are 5? Or are you going to say
here's
my? You can't rank.
I can't rank them.
Okay. Did I need to email you yesterday to rank them?
I love fried chicken.
Oh man.
Then that was my next question. Are we doing fried chicken or are we doing chicken tenders?
I don't care. I just said chicken on purpose because I don't care. See, now I've complicated your world.
You left me in a quandary.
Now I've complicated your world. There was a chicken place in Ciudad Juarez that we would go to when we went on mission trips. And it was a chain restaurant down there, but man, I loved it. Pollo Loco. And it was down there. It was in Juarez. Probably one of my favorite chicken places to go to. Now, I found a place locally that I really like and my wife really likes. That's Pollo Reggio.
Yeah.
Oh, my daughter doesn't like it, but my goodness, we love Pollo Reggio. We just do. We really like that.
Actually, there's a third now.
Did I give you one?
No. Don't remember where it's at.
You just keep thinking.
I don't remember where it's at.
Well, you said one's in Puerto Rico.
One's in Europe. I don't know if it's in Spain or in Italy though. So one of them in Puerto Rico, Chicken Jose's. You get an entire roasted chicken,
right? Yes,
with fries.
Oh my gosh, for like $3.
That was like $4.
It's crazy, isn't it?
The one in Belize.
And if it was owned by our healthcare system, it'd be $632.
Right, but because Puerto Rico's U.S. territory,
right?
So they're getting raked over the coals too. The other one's in Belize, and it's called Friendship House.
Oh, wow. Okay.
You would get half a chicken, 2 sides, and a bottle of Coke in a returnable bottle.
Oh, wow. So you get money back.
Which means they refilled the bottles. I don't know whether.
Yeah, you don't. Yeah, I don't want to know.
It doesn't matter.
These are not things we need to know.
We're in Belize. I assume
Europe does things differently.
I assume that they had to help
in South America.
So
you're in Belize.
So yeah. Friendship House, we would stop there almost every day because it was like $3 or $4 to eat for a lot of food.
We have enjoyed since living here Golden Chick. Now, I'm not going to say it's the best chicken in the world, but Dulcie really loves fried okra.
Oh, well.
And she's enjoyed their fried okra tremendously. But for the first time, we went to Lisa's Chicken.
I'm telling you, that was my next one. My next is Lisa's Chicken.
We walked into Lisa's Chicken, and I looked at the board, and I looked at their prices, and I'm like, dude, I could eat here every day.
You can get 5
Yes,
pieces of
yes,
dark chicken.
Yes, Lisa's Chicken.
For
It's all over the
$6,
metro.
and it's so good.
We went to the one up on Hewlin. Yeah, up on Hewlin, north of our house. It was so funny because we walk in and the stock room is in the front room.
Mm-hmm.
I guess they don't
I've
have.
actually never been in one.
I guess they don't have a stock room in the
I just
back.
drive through.
But the stock room's in the front room. I don't even care. You know what it reminded me of non-American restaurants. It reminded me of European restaurants or Asian restaurants or Mexican that the stock room's in the front room.
Yeah, we got a room, so it's right here.
It's just right here. But oh my gosh.
Yes.
She had the fish, and the fish was the catfish is awesome.
Phenomenal.
But Lisa's Chicken, you got to go to Lisa's Chicken. Now I need Lisa's Chicken.
I don't get tenders though.
What do you get?
I have to get chicken on the bone.
Okay. Because they do it well.
And dark meat.
Now I have to shout out because of my daughter.
Well,
I like Babe's Chicken.
Babe's is a given.
Well, but we haven't mentioned it yet.
Okay, Babe's. And for me,
go to the one in Burleson, ask for Isabella to serve you, and tip her well, please.
Very well.
She's really good, though. She's a good server.
Babe's, the draw for me at Babe's isn't necessarily the chicken, though. It's the fixins.
Oh my gosh, the unlimited family
style
fixins. Your boys probably really enjoy
unlimited
family style
fixins.
That
often, but we love family style. That's for sure.
And the unlimited biscuits.
The biscuits are so good. You can tell a lot about a chicken joint just by their bread and their sweet tea.
Yeah, I haven't had their sweet tea. Is it good?
Lisa's?
Yeah, no. Well,
Lisa's
I was talking about Babe's, but
Lisa's is not good in my estimation.
Right.
It's like if you take chicken ET and then you add sugar to it
instead of boiling the sugar in.
Yeah, it's so sweet. I can't even drink it 50-50.
At Lisa's?
Yes. I got to ask.
So okay. Next time we're going to talk about
don't get me going.
Our best tea. On our best iced tea. Because I know you like red. Red Diamond. No. You like Milo's. Yeah, you're a Milo's guy. Yeah,
I'll drink Red Diamond if they're out of Milo's. I want your take on Raising Cane's.
There's a conflict in my house over Raising Cane's.
I can't eat Raising Cane's without Sweet Baby Ray's barbecue sauce.
I'm not a huge fan.
I'm not either.
Of Raising Cane's. I think their batter is bland.
I do too.
I don't think it has any seasoning to it.
I don't either.
I think it's just they just threw it in flour and in oil, and I'm just not a fan of it. My daughter loves Raising Cane's, and I'm like, it's a fad in your generation. That's why you like.
My family loves Raising Cane's.
I'm not a fan.
You know why?
I'll eat it, but I don't enjoy it.
It's the sauce.
Now I do like their sauce.
I don't.
I do like their sauce, but I shouldn't have to dip it in sauce to find flavor.
But that's what makes their chicken.
But see,
their signature is more in the sauce than it is in the chicken. Unlike Lisa's, who seasons the chicken before they batter it.
Well, and neither of us have mentioned Jesus Chicken. Is that also a given? Or are you not a fan of Chick-fil-A?
I tell you what, I'm a fan, but I don't think it makes my top 5 chicken joints.
Oh, I know. I like it. I like it because of what it stands for, not necessarily because.
Now, if I'm doing,
are we going to go to hell if we don't like Chick-fil-A?
I like Chick-fil-A. I didn't say that. Chick-fil-A's on my top 5 sweet teas too. I can get my top 5 sweet teas right here in town.
Because you drink it everywhere.
I do.
Sonic, as long as they're not running you late. As long as they're not running you late.
Sonic has the best sweet tea in all of Crowley.
But you were late one day because you had to have your tea. It
was so good. And who's next on my list of sweet tea? Fast Taco.
Really?
Yes.
They're
moving. I mean, they're
moving.
But their sweet tea is on point.
Good. But a lot of people upset with Fast
Golden
Taco
Chick.
lately.
Well, they raised their prices for no reason.
Yeah, a lot of people have been upset over.
They're a very small chain.
Oh yeah.
So
they got hit hard.
They did. So if they're going to stay, if we're going to keep them in business, pay the prices.
Right.
If you don't want to pay the prices, don't go to the drive-thru. And don't get on the internet and start complaining about it because
Get off of Crowley Talk
It
and
is
go
what it
find
is.
something else.
it is what it is. So Sonic, Fast Taco, Golden Chick,
How did we get on tea?
because I love tea more than I love chicken.
Well, we started at burgers, and then we were going to move to chicken, and now you brought in tea.
So I don't even, okay. So we're gonna go stateside chicken joints. Popeyes in New Orleans. Popeyes
You know,
anywhere.
and Popeyes in New Orleans is a different flavor than Popeyes. I've had it both ways,
I have to.
and it is different outside of New Orleans.
It's because it's made with love, baby.
Oh my gosh.
That's that New
It's
Orleans
a chain,
style.
it's a chain store.
No.
How does it taste different down there? Is it the water?
It gotta be. Gotta be. It's so good though.
Now you're talking Cajun.
Yeah, you get your 3 Ps, dark and spicy with dirty rice and red beans.
Why does your voice lower
Mm.
and your vowels lengthen when you start talking?
Take me back. Take me back. Take country roads. Take me home.
No, John Denver does not belong on this blog.
Popeyes in New Orleans. Lisa's. Popeyes outside New Orleans.
Oh my goodness. You make two of, oh my God.
Popeye, because they have that spicy chicken.
All right.
So
So Popeyes New Orleans, Lisa's Popeyes outside of New Orleans. I do like Popeyes chicken.
I'm not really a big fan of KFC. I don't know if that's
No, I'm not either.
I'm not really a big fan of Churches. You know who has really good chicken? Kroger.
Really?
Kroger has good chicken.
See, when we lived in Amarillo, United had really good chicken. It was
And then,
odd. It was really good. We used it for all their funeral meals.
Zaxby's.
I have not had Zaxby's. I don't think I've ever eaten at a Zaxby's yet. I probably
It's-
will now.
It's good. Really good. What about you? Top 5. I'll take one of my Popeyes out and give you Golden Chick. Because Golden Chick's golden roasted
Oh, see, I like the roasted
is
chicken.
phenomenal.
And the one here in Crowley does a really good job with it.
Yeah.
I really like it. Yeah.
Their fried chicken is good. Their roasted chicken
I like the roasted chicken better. I agree with you there. I
all
like the
day,
roasted
twice
chicken
on
better.
Sunday.
Just for the chicken itself, I really liked Lisa's the other day. I have to get
Lisa's
off of
is-
that. I like Lisa's the other. I didn't think I would, but I did. I
You
really
do?
I like Lisa's, and I like Golden Chicks roasted, and I like Babes, and how much of that is the sides versus the chicken. And I have a hard time swapping between chicken and catfish because a lot of times those are the same
Or
spots.
chicken fried steak.
And so that's 3. And Popeyes, I love Popeyes. In or out of New Orleans, I like Popeyes. And I don't really go to I don't eat chicken pretty much any other where.
And
any other
Hattie
place.
B's.
I have had Hattie B's hot chicken. I tell you, I was in Nashville for the convention this last summer, and just down the hill from my hotel was a hot chicken place. No name, singular location, but it was hot chicken. It was better than Hattie B's.
Don't let that get out.
I'm sorry, Hattie B's may have the name and the T-shirt. This place was better than Hattie B's.
Well, next time we go to Nashville.
And when we take our Christmas trip through Nashville, where we're going this year, we're going to stop and eat some hot chicken, and I think we're going to stop and eat at that location. But my kids may talk me into Hattie B's for the Instagram effect.
well, yeah.
My daughter will talk me into Hattie B's for the Instagram effect.
You gotta have to.
Yeah.
Gotta do it for the gram.
You got to do it for the gram. Got to curate that front page or
That's
whatever
right.
whatever they're
I don't even know
curating.
what they're doing anymore.
Whatever they're curating. Hey, you guys have a great weekend. I'm heading up to Stillwater this afternoon. We're going for Hoco, but we'll be back Saturday night to be here Sunday morning.
One last
So-
thing.
And you got 5th quarter Friday, so come help Keith on
We're
Friday.
looking at a new shirt.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Loving people. So they move forward on life's journey. Look at you're going to be you'll get sign-ups soon.
See that? I don't know if you can read it.
Yeah.
It looks really cool.
It looks really cool. And we'll get sign-ups and get that out for sign-ups.
We have 4 different colors: purple, red, black, and blue.
There you go.
It'll be like a big bruise, but
That's right.
It's okay. All right. We got stuff to do today, so
Yep.
we got to cut it short.
See you.